I sort of wanted to ask you to talk about how it all started.
Well, I think you remember the story. Barbara Wilkes and I, he was another Cornellian, moved to Baltimore in the mid-'70s on a total lark. We came and we explored the city. We loved the kind of post-industrial, we loved the building stock, the historic buildings. It just seemed like a place that was on the verge of becoming something. Mayor Schaefer was in
The Renaissance
office.
was happening.
Exactly, the dollar homes.
They were doing the homesteading. They had Schaefer, who was doing it now. They had this energy that was actually really cool, because a lot of our classmates, as you know,
They go to Manhattan.
They would go off to DC or wherever.
Right.
And that Barb and Diane were kind of more gutsy to come into
But we were
Baltimore.
kind of young and naive, so we just sort of moved here completely on a lark, and then eventually settled here. And Barbara ended up marrying Bill Streever, who was a young, up-and-coming developer. So he was the one who gave us some of our early
He
work.
was your first big.
Well, maybe we
One of
were
your
doing
first-
renovating small row houses for people and things like that. But no, he was our first more substantial client. And then we sort of took it from there, and then brought in Dave, who was also a classmate, and we found George Holback, who was local, who's from Baltimore, was a MICA graduate, and then also went to get his architecture degree at Virginia Tech. And the four of us started to build a firm. And
What is it that you strive to do? How do you say that?
Well, what is-
We should have read. That's a trick question.
that is a trick
Should
question.
have read that. But we're actually, I think, what is common to what we're trying to do all the time is make active, friendly places and to build community. And I think that's the common denominator. That's why we're still here. We're still located on Charles Street after all these years, still trying to kind of revitalize, be part of, from small to big, kind of making the place a better place and a stronger environment. And we've taken that beyond that to college campuses and other places as well. It isn't just here in Baltimore.
There's one thing I remember about your firm early on. You entered lots of competitions. Whenever there was, and Baltimore had a lot of competitions at the time. If there was a competition to expand the aquarium or to do something for the power plant or any old building in Baltimore, you would enter it. Some firms don't enter competitions because they're tough. They figure if you don't win,
and you usually spend a lot of money doing it.
But I think when you're young and you're trying to make yourself known, that is one of the ways that you can actually become known, is if you can win a competition.
That seemed to have generated some work.
Some of my favorites that people might know that are in Baltimore would be the Jim Rouse Visionary Center at the American Visionary Art Museum, the renovation of Baltimore School for the Arts, and then Everyman Theater and Center Stage. Because I'm a big arts person, I think arts are a key catalyst for revitalizing cities, and I love doing adaptive reuse, and all four of those projects combined all of those things.
But you also did Tendeco Wharf,
That would be Dave.
So what's interesting about our firm is different partners do different projects. So we sort of do different. She's more arts and culture. But for me, one of the biggest things was Tendeco and Canton Cove, which were really out there pioneering projects before Canton was found at all. In fact, we couldn't get a restaurant into the power plant there because it was too far out, if you remember some of those things.
I remember people saying, "Where's Canton?"
Well, yeah, so
I mean,
so that's the kind of, and so it's like community revitalization, bringing new life into a kind of cool place. That was very fun. And a more recent version, improv from 2006 and 7 was Clipper Mill,
right?
Which
and I think we
did.
still have to thank Bill Streever for all of that.
Those
Because
were
he's
Bill.
always seeing the vision in a place that no one else has seen. So
But
it's
Clipper
great.
Mill, again, had a big fire. Most of it was kind of a ruin. Nobody knew what to do with it. And it was very fun to sort of play, brainstorm, try all kinds of different ideas out and cook up some different mixes of uses that actually worked in that kind of place. And actually, again, it has this kind of been sort of builds out from there because there's a lot of, they're just the neighborhood becomes stronger and stronger. So those were kind of community projects. I love doing schools too, so I've worked at Towson University, did a master plan, a series of buildings there, Goucher, Virginia Wesleyan, so it's been a kind of building that kind of campus community outside is also good.
Also, our other partner, George, does a lot of affordable housing in some of the most challenging neighborhoods in Baltimore. That's a big push for us. So it's not just in these fancy areas and the gentrified areas. I mean, we're deep in some of the inner city.
Yeah, I did Lillian Jones, which is right on
Greenmount.
Greenmount. They're in a really tough neighborhood again.
Open Works, which I did because it's got the art angle, but also in Greenmount West, which now seems like, kind of a hot spot. But when we started the project,
Yeah.
pretty edgy neighborhood.
Well, let me try to ask you how that meshes with Gwen Evans. Do they have all these different aspects to them also?
They're just starting to get involved in similar projects in Detroit, and I think that's why they had their eye on Baltimore. And they always liked our firm and admired our firm for our design reputation. And
They're trying to actually get more community-oriented. I think that's one of the things. They've been doing a lot of projects for the Smithsonian.
Or the
They're
federal
doing that
government,
huge National
yeah.
Air and Space
Yeah.
Museum. It's like a massive project. It's going to be finished in 2025 or something. So they do that kind of stuff. They're doing the Lincoln Memorial. So
they renovated the Kennedy Center. So they are in the same markets, but it's on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
And
so they were intrigued with doing more housing, doing more of the cultural kind of stuff. But they also do libraries. I love doing libraries too. For example, I did that little Orleans Street library. That's a
It looks
fun
like it has
library.
books on the outside.
Exactly. So it's actually kind of a fun project, and so give us a fun opportunity. So the libraries, the cultural stuff, the schools. I think one of the reasons people want to work here in our firm over all the years we hear is variety.